taught you early how to bend before you knew where you begin. Fear repeated day by day became the ground you learned to stay. Repetition shaped the frame until compliance felt like blame. You thought the weight was all your own, but it was planted, grown. Conditioned souls, not broken, not weak, just trained to survive what they couldn't speak. This isn't failure, this is design, a long instruction over time. No shame belongs where pressure grew. No guilt survives the truth. They fed you rules before insight, thought obedience felt like right, but strength was never taken away. It only learned to wait. Conditioned souls still hold inside. Awareness breaks the pattern in a single stride. Mask of care, guidance whispered everywhere. Confusion posed as common sense until clarity broke the fence. The moment seeing replaced blame, the story lost its claim. What took years to install falls when named it all. Conditioned souls never lacking strength, it was delayed. No punishment is needed here, no penance, no repair, just recognition, calm and clear, that power never left your sphere. Conditioning dissolves, not fights. When awareness turns the light, no war required, no inner blame, just remembering your name. Conditioned souls, awakening stays. The moment you see the pattern, it breaks. Is the final key, not force, not severity. What was learned can be unlearned. The instant clarity is earned. So stand relieved, not ashamed. Nothing in you was ever changed. What you are returns intact the moment conditioning cracks. Conditioned souls, now conscious, now free, strength restored effortlessly through clarity. No blame, no loss, only remembering. They try to rent the space inside, to name my thoughts, to set the tide. Planet doubts, repeated cues, call distraction, breaking news. Every pull designed to steer, every fear made to appear. But the moment I look within, the grip began to thin. Mental sovereignty, no lease, no claim. My thoughts return to me, unchained. Psychological wires were laid, habits trained, reactions played. But awareness cut the thread, and the noise lost what it said. Control depends on borrowed sight, on minds not claiming their own light. When perception takes its seat, manipulation retreats. Mental sovereignty, clear and no way. Once the mind is reclaimed, control breaks. Choose what enters, what remains. I set the terms inside my frame. No algorithm owns my view, no script decides what's true. Attention placed with steady care turns pressure into empty air. What cannot hook or hijack thought has nothing left to work with. Mental sovereignty, not resistance, command. When the thoughts stand self-governed, power disbands. They measure strength by mental sway, by how fast focus drifts away. But discipline of inner sight outlasts the manufactured night. I don't escape the outer world, I meet it with a centered mind. No reflex left to harvest, no fear left to assign. Mental sovereignty, rooted and exact. When the mind governs itself, systems crack. This isn't force, this isn't war, just ownership restored. What was always mine returns the moment clarity learned. I stand responsible and free, thinking consciously. From this ground every step aligns and control resigns. Mental sovereignty, unmoved, intact. Once the mind belongs to itself, control collapses. Focus it, sovereignty. And freedom moving, undivided. No court declared the right to breathe. No document ancestral memory in the ground, in rivers running without a sound. No border told the wind where to stay, no flag instructed night or day. Legality learned to wear a crown, calling moral truth upside down. But right and wrong were never born inside the rules that came much later on. Ancient freedom before decree or claim, no institution authored it, no ruler named it. Oh, they taught us law replaces sense, that justice needs offense, but morality don't wait in line, and conscience isn't redesigned. What is natural can't be revoked, it can be signed away or broke. The moment truth is clearly seen, permission loses meaning. Ancient freedom, not approved, not denied, it lives where being human doesn't need to justify. Power rose and learned to speak, promised order, promised peace, but freedom didn't come from them, they arrived to fence it in. I don't confuse the written rule with what is right or what is true. When law forgets the human core, ancient freedom calls once more. Ancient freedom, calm and unafraid, it doesn't argue for its place, it stays. History keeps trying to forget, but memory breathes beneath the text. Every time control collapses, freedom reappears intact. I stand aligned with what remains when titles fade and courts abstain. Not borrowed rights, not delayed, just freedom. Ancient, ancient freedom. Before borders, before rule, when illusions fall away, it's still true. Before law, before fear, freedom was here. Reaction feeds the system well, it gives them stories they can sell. Emotion pull like a hidden string, every flare makes the gears spin. But stillness breaks the expected play, nothing moves the way they planned. Stillness has power, not silence that bends. body stays aligned. The trap dissolves in real time. Calm awareness holds its ground, not frozen, not shut down. It listens deeper than the noise and forces truth to show its voice. Stillness has power, a discipline of thought. When reaction is refused, the lie is caught. Patience sharpens what is real, while urgency clouds what you feel. Systems thrive on hurried breath, on minds that never rest. I don't rush to counter lies, I let them empty by their side. Observe clearly, left alone, they collapse under their own tone. Stillness has power, no force applied, just clarity unmoved while illusions slide. Weakness, call composure delay, but every calm second held takes leverage away. Stillness isn't passive ground, it's active seeing without sound. A mind that waits, alert and clear, leaves no opening for fear. Stillness has power, not retreat, not freeze. It's awareness in position that systems can't seize. History shifts in moments small, when reaction doesn't answer the call. Not by louder opposition, but by disciplined cognition. I remain present, steady, wide. No need to push, no need to hide. In this posture, truth revealed, and manipulation peels. Stillness has power, the calm that can't be moved. When thought is disciplined and clear, control is removed. Stillness held, truth revealed. They look for sparks, for raised alarms, for sudden moves they can disarm. But presence held without a seam stays outside what they can read. Consistency is rarely loud, it doesn't gather restless crowds. It shows up daily, clear and near, unmoved by bait, untouched by fear. Quiet resistance, no clash, no display, staying aligned day after day is the way. Provocation waits for heat, a reactive turn, a hurried beat, but calm refuses the exchange and leaves the script unchanged. Distraction calls from every side, urgent noise, a shifting tide, but focus kept, attentive still, denies the pull. Quiet resistance, rooted and aware, when nothing pulls you off your ground, control thins in the air. responds by how fast anger can be launched. But patience held consistent playing outlasts the game. Ooh, quiet resistance, not retreat, not delay. It's persistence with a spine, unprovoked, unplayed. No slogans needed to endure, no enemies required. Awareness sets the posture straight and keeps it there. Reaction fades where presence stays. Attention breaks manipulative ways. What can't be rushed or steered by tone remains its own. Quiet resistance, calm as it is firm. When you can be pulled apart, you can be turned on. History shifts in subtle lines when steadiness outlives the times. Not by the loudest voice in the room, but by those who remain. I keep my ground, my breath, my sight, not hardened, not withdrawn from life. In this position, clear and whole, resistance holds. Quiet resistance, enduring and exact. When awareness stays consistent, illusions crack. Still present, still clear, still clear, still here. They dress power in borrowed skin, uniform stitched to pull you in. Titles raised like sacred signs, demanding faith, demanding time. Rituals repeat the claim, so fear remembers every name. Authority learned to pose as law, but law alone never made it right. False authority, standing on command. It survives on fear, not on who you are. Badges shine to block the view. Symbols speak before truth can move. When image stands where reason should, obedience feels understood. But symbols fade when not believed. They weaken when they're simply seen. No hatred needed, no reply, just clarity passing by. False authority, loud but thin. When fear steps out, its voice caves in. They train respect through consequence, mistake compliance for common sense. But fear-dressed order always cracks when conscience looks it back. Truth doesn't bow to rank or tone. flare. A sudden move they can repair. They study anger, track the pull, count on hatred as a tool. But some refuse the rising tide. Don't swing with fear, don't choose a side. They stand alert but never rush, and leave no lever left to push. Unmoved mind, steady and away. No panic to exploit, no loyalty to fate. They offer flags and borrowed names, invite you into scripted games. But blind allegiance fades away when self-knowledge clears the way. Emotion trained to act on cue becomes predictable and used. But discipline of inner sight moves outside their reach and mind. Unmoved mind, calm without disguise. When reaction is withdrawn, the system destabilized. They thrive on instant response, on reflex dressed as common sense. But pause reveals the hidden threat, where expectation quietly led. An unmoved mind is not detached, it sees too clearly to be snatched. It feels but chooses how to stand, not pulled by every guiding hand. Unmoved mind, neither cold nor blind, just rooted deep in knowing what is truly mine. Hatred needs a constant feed, fear depends on urgent need. When neither answers the demand, power slips from where it planned. I don't reject, I don't obey, I observe and stay awake. This middle ground, alert and still, unravels every forced will. Unmoved mind, quiet, firm and clear. The calm they can't predict is what they fear. Patterns fail when reaction doesn't sail, not by louder opposition, but by inner reposition. Self-knowledge steadies every breath, outlast impression, noise and threat. In this posture lies the end of borrowed power. Unmoved mind, the stance that won't be bent. When emotional control is held, oppression loses its intent. Old mind still, control gone. Mind still, control gone. The curtain lifts its weight, there's no returning to the gate. What was unseen. The mind won't fit the old routine. Illusions fall without a sound, not shattered, simply left behind. The road ahead grows clear and long. Each step now carries what is known. Irreversible awareness, no rewind, no disguise. When the eyes are opened once, they stay alive. This isn't speed, this isn't flight. It's a steady walk into the light. No rush, no borrowed urgency, just presence taking responsibility. Freedom came with clearer sight, and clearer sight demands what's right. Not innocence, not ignorance, but conscious stance. Irreversible awareness, not a peak, a vow. Knowing changes how you move, here and now. Not out of fear, but truth no longer fits them here. What once excused a passive role now asks the weight of self-control. Awakening is not relief, it's duty grounded underneath. To speak with care, to act with aim, to not pretend you didn't know the name. Irreversible awareness, freedom tied to choice. Silence now becomes a statement. So does voice. No badge of honor, no parade, just daily work that must be made. Alignment tested moment by moment, not announced. The system counts on memory loss, on drifting back to former cause. But once awareness sets its tone, the old commands fall alone. Irreversible awareness, calm and clear. What you carry forward now matters here. Whoa. This path won't let you look away or borrow comfort from delay. Knowing anchors every step and accountability is kept. I move ahead without regret, no wish to unlearn what's met. The mind awake accepts the weight and walks upright. Irreversible awareness, no return, no plea. Once the truth becomes your ground, responsibility is free. Holding me inside, no permission permission, no approval needed here. The moment I recognized myself, the path appeared. The shift was small, but everything changed. How I stood, how I spoke, how I named. Posture straightened without a fight. Breathe found rhythm, words found weight. I stopped explaining what I am, stopped waiting for a guiding hand. Presence filled the space I stood in. Silence turned to understood. No permission, not a challenge, not a plea. Self-recognition altered how the world met me. Speech slowed down, not held back. Each word placed where it matched. No defense, no borrowed tone, just clarity speaking on its own. They sensed the change without a sound, a different gravity around. Not resistance, not retreat, just sovereignty complete. No permission, no need to push or prove. When you know who you already are, the ground moved. I didn't confront, I didn't deny. I aligned with what was mine. Authority returned to breathe and bone. Without asking, the world responds to posture first, before argument or verse. And when posture stands aligned, the noise falls behind. No permission, no external key. Quiet sovereignty reshaped my reality. This wasn't courage learned in pain, it was memory reclaimed. The truth that waited calm and near, until recognition cleared the fear. Now every step confirms the same. Nothing grants what already remains. Freedom moves with steady pace from this place. No permission, no delay, no sign. When self-recognition settles in, power aligns. Recognize, align, present. They taught you silence before your voice, called it manners, called it choice. Taught you fear in classroom rows, rewarded stillness, punished wise. Repetition carved the frame, routine dressed as being sane. Sit still, comply, don't interrupt. That's how obedience grows up. They taught you to obey quietly, lower tone, avoid the gaze. Not to see, not to question, just behave. Silence paid in small rewards, approval slips and open doors. Questioning was marked as risk, curiosity trained to miss. And no villain named, no finger pointed, just a system well appointed. It didn't need to shout or fight, sound like care, like guidance whispered everywhere. Confusion praised as being smart, while clarity was torn apart. This isn't blame on you or me, it's naming how control can be. A structure fed by muted breath, by questions starved to death. They taught you to obey quietly, but they never taught you truth. Once you see the pattern clear, it loosens its hold on you. Awakening didn't start with rage, just stepping off the written page. A pause where thought could breathe again without permission. Critical thought returned its tone, not loud, not rude, but fully grown. Inner authority took its place, calm, aligned, and unafraid. They taught you to obey quietly, but obedience was learned. Awareness reclaims the ground where dignity returns. No institution owns your sight, no lesson rents your inner light. When questioning feels safe once more, the cage forgets its door. I don't act systems to allow, I stand where clarity is now. Inner authority doesn't plead, it proceeds. They taught you to obey quietly, but awakening speaks clear. When critical thought stands upright, fear disappears. Obedience ends. Inner authority remains. Walked in with empty hands, no shield, no sword, no command. It didn't dress to intimidate, it didn't argue its own way. Power built layers to survive, walls of force to keep alive. Every line needs guards and plans, truth just stands. Unarmed truth, no armor, no disguise. It doesn't need protection to survive. They stack defenses, raise the tone, repeat the story till it's known. Fear patrols the outer gate, because falsehood can't stand straight. Truth doesn't chase a louder sound, it remains when noise burns down. No permission, no appeal, it doesn't ask to be made real. Unarmed truth, calm and clear, while lies exhaust them. watches close, counting threats it always knows, because honesty without fear is what they cannot steer. Lies demand constant repair, attention, outrage, endless care. Truth requires no defense, only presence. Unarmed truth, standing still when force collapses under strain. Truth fulfilled. They confuse aggression with might, mistake volume for being right. But stability reveals the flaw in power built on shock and awe. I don't raise my voice to prove, I don't sharpen truth to wound. I let it breathe, unguarded, whole, and watch illusion lose control. Unarmed truth, no banner raised. When spectacle dissolves, it remains. History remembers what endured, not what threatened or obscured. Empires shout and disappear, truth stays near. No army march where truth arrives, it simply outlived the lie. What cannot be intimidated cannot be defeated. Unarmed truth, beyond attack. When every shield is finally gone, truth stands intact. No armor forces, truth remains. Fear was never accidental, it was shaped to be essential. Measured packet, spread with care, a currency traded everywhere. Repeated till it felt like truth, introduced early, taught in you, normalized in daily speech, so it could reach what force can't reach. Fear economy, fueling what should not stand. When fear is bought and sold, injustice finds demand. New cycles spin it every hour, turning attention into power. Not to inform, but to maintain a nervous system under strain. Fear doesn't need to scream or chase, it just needs a familiar face. A quiet warning, often said, until it lives inside the head. Fear economy, manufactured and refined. When fear feels ordinary, control feels justified. Consumption feeds on anxious breath, every promise framed by threat, by protection, by relief. Rent your peace in small belief, but fear exposed begins to thin. Once you see how it gets in, not by truth, not by faith, but by repetition and delay. Fear economy, strong only while unnamed. When fear is understood, it can't be sustained. They don't need you terrified, just uneasy all the time. A low vibration, constant hum, enough to keep resistance numb. I don't dramatize the fear I see, I examine it patiently. And in that calm, attentive light, fear forgets how to fight. Fear economy, built on borrowed breath. When clarity replaces panic, fear spends itself to death. Denial, not escape. The moment fear is clearly known, this authority is overthrown. No hero moment, no alarm, just awareness doing harm to a system fed by doubt. When fear runs out, fear economy cannot survive the clear. When fear is seen for what it is, it disappears. Fear named, fear fades, clarity remains. They expect heat, they plan for rage. A sudden move, an open cage. Calm doesn't fit their mental chart, it pulls the wires apart. Manipulation feeds on speed, on urgent tone and instant need. But when the breath stays even clear, the script disappears. Calm is dangerous to systems built on fear. When nothing pulls your strings, they lose control right here. They provoke to draw a sign, to make you choose a side. But calm awareness holds the frame and leaves no mark to claim. Lies need reaction to survive. Attention keeps them alive. But composure steady wide lets falsehood starve and die. Calm is dangerous, not loud, not blind. When awareness doesn't rush, it destabilizes lives. They measure power by response, by how fast anger can be launched. But patience held without delay takes their leverage away. Calm exposes what is weak, because it doesn't seek no spectacle, no defense, just presence. Calm is dangerous, because it sees what fear can't hook, it cannot lead. Confuse calm with being tame, mistake control for shame. But calm is disciplined and trained, not broken, not contained. A steady mind won't be arranged, won't be rushed, won't be exchanged. or loud display, but by those who stay. I keep my breath, my tone, my sight, not withdrawn, not in fight. In this calm, aligned and whole, I remain unarmed. Calm is dangerous to every lie. When the mind stays clear and still, control runs dry. They flood the room with overlapping sound, so nothing clear can settle down. 1,000 voices, none aligned. Attention pulled, then split in time. Mixed messages, parade as choice. Debate replaces a steady voice. When everything demands belief, clarity is starved of sleep. Manufactured confusion, designed to drain the will. When the mind stays occupied, resistance stands still. Noise is framed as being informed. Constant updates keep us warm, but warmth from chaos never lasts. It only clouds the looking glass. False debates consume the day, argue around, avoid the way. Questions circle, answers bend, and truth is buried in the end. Manufactured confusion, a strategy, not chance. When focus fades and meaning blurs, control advances. Exhaustion wears a thinking face, calling doubt a balanced place. But tired minds accept delay, and power counts, the drift has gained. Clarity doesn't shout or race, it clears a single honest space. One steady thought held through the noise weakens every forced choice. Manufactured confusion, but clarity remains. Once the fog is named and seen, it breaks the chain. They don't need lies to make you bend, just endless talk that never ends. When everything is half true, action forgets what to do. I choose a mind that rests and sees, not pulled by every urgency. Patience sharpens what is real, and confusion starts signal stands alone, control loses you. Absence here is the ground where truth is clear. From that ground direction grows, and borrowed no